Tim will be back tomorrow after another admirable job, easy for me to say, calling you sports over the weekend. Still to come, plays of the week. But first, let's get in some hockey. Lightning Leafs on Sportsnet Ontario tonight. Nick Kypreos will be part of that coverage and joins us now. Kipper, thanks for doing this. Kipper, I can never handle daylight savings well. I am a weak human being. Are you in the same boat? Do you get thrown for the week?
See the delay? I'm an hour behind.
There you go.
Well played.
Well played, Kipper, as usual, on fire, in playoff form. Tampa Bay and the Leafs, Sportsnet Ontario tonight. Tampa, let's start with Tampa, Kipper. Have they peaked? I'm afraid they've peaked. Do you think they've peaked?
Only one place for them to go is down. And Boston, the Bruins also lost their first regulation game in, 18? So they've peaked as well. So, hey, find the parade route for the Toronto Maple Leafs because it's easy from here on in.
No, but I know I'm being ridiculous. I understand. There's plenty of hockey left. But if you were looking at a weakness on this team, what is it?
Some people think it's toughness. Not to the degree that we probably look at the Leafs and wonder whether or not they've got that team toughness to go 4 rounds, but there's a sense that they are probably not as team tough as, say, the Boston Bruins or play that hardcore. A lot of people to this day still believe that the Leafs match up better than Tampa Bay than the Boston Bruins, if you can believe that. And I think it's because of the style of play, that they like to, at times, exchange chances. And we know that they've got the firepower to score big like the Toronto Maple Leafs. And they also have the ability at times to really count on their goaltender to make not just the save that he's supposed to, but make the save that he's not supposed to make. And Vasilevsky has shown at times, and certainly against the Toronto Maple Leafs earlier this year, that he can do a lot of the great things that we've seen Anderson do for his respective clubs. So no question that many estimation, is the team to beat so far in the National Hockey League, and the record proves it.
When I look at the two teams playing tonight, 5-on-5, they're pretty similar. Leafs are actually just +2 above Tampa in terms of 5-on-5. The big difference is Tampa's power play is out of this world. Is that something that will translate to postseason hockey, that power play?
It has to. When you win Stanley Cups, the two things that really stick out is great goaltending and specialty teams. So I believe that they've got the confidence and the firepower to at least maintain a certain level. I don't know if it'll cool off, and we do know that the referees don't like to throw around power plays like they do during the regular season. But when they're on, they're really on. So I don't believe for 1 second that it's going to waver a whole heck of a lot. It'll still be a real dangerous power play with Kucherov, who's as good as anybody in the world right now. And Stamkos still has his spot, much like Ovechkin does on that power play. But it's going to be an entertaining game tonight. And I think for the Leafs, they want to maintain that seed of doubt that says if we match up with them at any point in the playoffs, we can give them a good run for their money.
Kipper, speaking of the playoffs, I feel I'm in a really, really small minority of people who like this playoff format. I thoroughly enjoy it. The rivalries, everything about it. The first round of the NHL playoffs, one of the best rounds. And Steve Stamkos was talking about it earlier today. He's not a fan. There are a lot more people who don't like it than like it. Where do you stand on it, and why do you think the NHL likes it so much?
Well, the NHL loves it so much is because it draws back to the rivalries, and they want to establish something during the regular season, and they don't mind exposing it real early in the playoffs. The other thing is it makes sense in terms of economics. No one wants to fly from one coast to the other because you're 1 against 16 or 1-8 in your conference. So it makes sense from a point of economics, and you don't want to spend 3 or 4 hours on a flight going back and forth. So I don't think it's going to change anytime soon. And yes, the Atlantic division certainly is taken shape in terms of establishing the top 5 teams in the league, but that won't necessarily be the case from year to year. So I don't see it changing anytime soon. And I think the guys have said it. Both coaches said it today at the morning skate. whether or not you see a top team in the first round or a team in the third, you got to beat good teams to win a Stanley Cup. So I don't know. Is everybody worried that the Leafs won't get a couple extra gates if they get knocked out by the Boston Bruins in the third round compared to the first round? You got to beat good teams to win a Stanley Cup. So
Hear, hear.
That's the bottom line.
Yeah, the reason why I don't like it, Kipper, is because we have a long period where we know what the seeds are, and a lot of this hockey doesn't matter. You look at the Leafs right now, 7 of their next 8 after tonight are against teams who aren't close to the playoffs. Nashville, the only tough team left. Is this an important test for them because it's up against a strong opponent, which they'll see in the playoffs?
For sure. Everybody wants a measuring stick. Everybody wants to know where they truly lie. The problem now, I think, more than anything, is I think the regular season's so overrated, and we kind of read way too much in terms of what kind of success that you have. And is it automatic that it's going to carry into the playoffs? No, it's not. And I'm sorry, but you can't compare Tampa Bay's season to, say, one of the most successful ones by the Montreal Canadiens in the 70s and say, hey, yeah, they're going to break their record, or they have a chance to be one of the best teams during the regular season in history. I mean, so many points now decided in a shootout and overtime, and we don't see those things in the Stanley Cup playoffs. And there's so much different about the regular season than the playoffs. I think at times it could be overvalued, and that's why I think a lot of teams don't put the focus on winning so much at all costs during the regular season. But once you get in, you have a chance to get home ice advantage simply by winning game 1 on the road. So we'll see. We'll see where teams like Tampa Bay and the Toronto Maple Leafs truly lie. Maybe as the first week in the Stanley Cup playoffs here. You can be a great regular season team now more than ever and not have what it takes to have success in the playoffs.
To that point, is home ice in the playoffs at this point overrated? Home teams actually had a losing record at home, lost 4 more. And obviously Washington was 10-3 on the road last year. Does home ice actually mean as much as we think it used to?
I still like it in Game 7. Mm-hmm. I still like the fact that you can go and have that familiar feel when you need it most, when your backs are against the wall. But again, it's a different feel now for the players. Is it at all costs during the regular season? No, I don't see that in today's game more than ever. But hey, if Toronto and Boston met, and we do believe they will, I think the Leafs would welcome home ice advantage in a Game 7 once again.
Kipper, I hate to get wrapped up in social media stuff, but I'm falling in love with what Brad Marchand is doing right now. It's subtle, it's light, but some people may have issue with it. Again, he retweeted a quote from John Cooper on Mitch Marner from Chris Johnson of Sportsnet by saying, "Told ya," this after tweeting about potential AAV for Mitch Marner last week. Is this innocent fun, Kipper, or do you think the league may get a phone call about some of this stuff?
Oh, gosh, I don't know. No, there won't be a phone call from the league. If you want to go make a phone call for that, you're going to be awfully busy if you're the league 24 hours a day, scrolling through Twitter feeds to find out where you want to get involved and where you don't. But the only one that may have an issue with that may be Kyle Dubas. Yeah. Maybe just worry about your own situation and don't worry about mine. I think when it's all said and done, he's really challenging the Leafs or Marner to do one of two things. Either the Leafs buck up or Marner hold in tight to get his money. But whatever it is, it's clearly stirring the pot.
Oh, yes, it is, Kipper. Yes, it is.